No problem. Okay, so we will start. I have very few slides, so don't worry. I think there are 4, so that you already have. Let me just do a quick check-in. Let's see how we are doing today as we are taking our tea time. So look at the emoji there. Put on chat. Let me see which one represents how you're feeling now. Which one is represented, and if nothing is being represented there, you can also put the word. So which emotion are you feeling at the moment as we are taking our tea? Which one? We have a couple. Good, I can see. Oh, Tabitha is puffing. Is it puffing?
Exhausted, it's Friday and it's
exhausted.
been a long
week. Okay, yeah. Okay, I can see a lot of joyful faces. Okay, what other emotions are we having today? There are those which are upside down. Good. I cannot see other participants. I can see a lot of other 8 participants. Who else? You can even write the word if you cannot see the emoji on your chat. What are you feeling now? We have exhausted, we have proud, we have angry, we have overwhelmed. Any other? Okay, keep them coming on chat. Yes, that would be nice to see how you're feeling now. So I just want to talk about our learning journey. And I reflected on my own scholarly journey. Today, it's about the scholarly journey. We have many journeys in life. And I think for me, I categorize the scholarly journey because it's been that process of becoming better, of changing, and of transformation. And when I looked at the scholarly journey, and my own journey, I identified 3 key pillars that have really helped me in how I have interacted with learning. And I thought this could be how we can discuss the session today. And these 3 aspects I reflected upon the issue of voice. How have I been navigating my voice and using my voice in my scholarly journey? And how has that supported my learning? And then the issue of feedback. Feedback is one of the things that I have received a lot, tons and tons of feedback in so many ways in my own journey, and the idea of follow through. So these are the 3 pillars I would like us to reflect upon our own scholarly journey. And when I talk about voice, a voice in academia, in our scholarly work is quite important because this is what kind of individuates us of who we are as we step in the scholarly space. It's about what are our thoughts, what are our ideas, even as you start your master's, as you start your PhD, or even as you start teaching, or you're a research mentor, or even the work we do at AuthorAID. Your voice, your thoughts, your ideas, your identity as you step into the scholarly space is very important. And voice is either how we write in terms of writing, or even how we speak, the ideas we speak, the values that we embody in our journey. And I've reflected on my own journey and seen that I have been nurturing my voice throughout my scholarly work. I did not have, and I'll show you my own journey, and then we can go to our own. It's been a process of nurturing. How I think now, the kind of values I have, the kind of things I advocate for now is not where I started. So it's been a process of growth. Also, in terms of using my voice, I have found that I have used other voices in my own journey to either learn from them, to help them use my voice more strongly, and to also identify where I lie in my own voice. So I have read a lot. And how do we access people's voices? We access them by reading, we listen to webinars, conferences, and we keep listening to so many voices. But over time, there are voices that seem to persuade us more, and we seem to lean more towards them. So in my own journey, I have found myself leaning towards voices that talk about inclusion, equality, pushing for the rights of the marginalized. And when you look at my writing, when I write and about issues of gender, of social inclusion, of children, of rights, I tend to use my voice more to that type of work. I did not have that before. I started off in the nursing career. And when I was doing nursing, I was not really coming from a point of, I was more on a reactive position. I was in serving and taking care of patients more as it's something I love, but it was more on duty, but I had not developed my voice quite strongly. But when I started doing my master's, I accessed voices that were very powerful and they spoke a lot about issues of exclusion. And slowly my voice began to align to theirs. So if you look at my writing, I tend to write and talk about these kind of issues. Then I've also found the way I apply my voice in the scholarly work is not the same way I seem to be applying it as a consultant. And there are many power dynamics that I've also faced in that. Remember, I'm a Kenyan and I'm based in Africa. And being an African researcher, being an African scholar, there's a way also our voice is listened to. There's a way our voice is not heard or it's heard. And I've also understood that part of my voice and how I can use it to amplify my own and how I can also use to support others to also raise their voices. So voice is very important. And today I'd love to see how we are developing that voice. What kind of issues do we seem to really matter to us? Because that also shapes your journey and also gives you a niche. The other part of my journey has been feedback. Oh my gosh, the feedback I have received about my own work, my scholarly work has been a lot. Sometimes it's been very clear feedback. Sometimes it's been very unclear, very unactionable. Sometimes it's been verbal or it's been oral. Sometimes it's forced me to listen more and become more reflexive to really tease out my assumptions. And it's been such a big process of unlearning and relearning. So today I'd also like us to see how have we been, what is our relationship with feedback in our own scholarly work? How have we interacted?
We seem to have a connection problem with Aurelia. I hope she comes back to us in a minute. I will just send her a quick message. It looks like Aurelia's connection dropped. I'm sure she'll be back with us in just a few minutes, but in the meantime, maybe start reflecting on what you've heard so far in the chat, or if anyone would like to share and speak, do feel free. If anything resonated with you so far, or has made you think about your own learning journey, feel free to just unmute yourself and speak, or write in the chat if you're more comfortable with that. Aurelia's just joining us again now. Hi, Aurelia.
Hi, I think I was kicked out. You can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Okay, I'll just use my phone. I will not project. Yes, because I think I'm having not a very good internet day. So the last aspect I was mentioning was the element of follow through. And this is how we interact with feedback in a way that we actually take action. Because also in my learning journey, I have understood getting feedback is not the end. following through and taking action is a very important aspect. And this is where we go to the concepts of discipline, the ideas of self-awareness, being intentional, and also looking at our own wellness as we follow through and take action in our academic journey, in our scholarly journey. So I have a few, I'm using Jamboard. Let me share the link with Tabitha. Let me see how to get you to the link so that you can share it and people can open it up. But I just wanted to share a bit of my journey through the 3 lenses and just say, I think for me, when I started my master's is when I felt I'm beginning to shape my voice and I could recognize things that I cared about. After my master's, which was almost 2 years, around that, I came back and began to work as an apprentice with my master's supervisor. So I began to support in reviewing different essays and manuscript. And through that, I began to develop my voice. But I also recognized that I was really struggling also, because sometimes I would receive feedback about my own writing and how I'm expressing myself, and it was very difficult to take that. But with a lot of support doing apprenticeship, I was able to begin slowly to nurture my voice. Then after 2 years of apprenticeship, I then began to do consulting work and working as a researcher. And there I was a bit more independent, but I still kept my mentors very close because I still felt I have a voice now, I have ideas I can express, but I still need more and more learning. So I kept a very clean circle of members, people who I could send some of my reports when I work on them, and they can give me feedback. Then slowly I evolved into the area of research mentorship. And this is where I found myself supporting other young scholars to also grow their voice, to learn how to relate well with feedback, and to also follow through. So it's been a journey for me. And now next year, I'm hoping to now start my PhD. I did not start my PhD immediately because I felt I really needed to ground myself better, to learn a bit more, and to go to the PhD with quite solid ideas of what I want to do. And I look forward to that journey. So now I want to invite us to discuss a bit more on our own reflection of growing our voice, of receiving feedback, and also how we follow through in our scholarly work. So as I share the link with Tabitha so that she can share on the chat, I'd like to ask a few of us to just talk about either how have you been developing your voice, what have you felt about receiving feedback on your work, and anything about how you follow through, how you take action in terms of your scholarly work. So you can unmute and just share some reflections as I share the link with Tabitha. Remember, it's tea time, so we are relaxed. We are just discussing and reflecting.
Who would like to start? Anyone? You can just unmute yourself like Aurelia said.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Usman. Thank you for sharing.
Okay, thank you very much. Good day to you all. My name is Usman Abubakar Haruna, and I'm a master's student at School of Medicine, Nazarbayev University. Actually, it has been a quite interesting experience because when I joined here, my undergraduate degree in Nigeria, as it used to be, were very large in the class. So we couldn't get that luxury of presentation, individual presentation. So it was very hard for someone to develop confidence of presenting his ideas at that time. But thank God when I joined here, we were only 14 in the class, so we almost have weekly presentations. And at the beginning, I used to have a very negative feedback, but thank God, it shaped me now, and I can be able to present well now. Sometimes I had to rehearse my presentation before I go to class and present it. But still, the feedback shaped me and improved me well, and at least I'm getting better now.
Thank you so much for sharing, Usman. That was really interesting, how you grew through that situation. Thank you for sharing with us. Anyone else who would like to share?
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. We can barely hear you. Can you maybe adjust your mic?
Okay, good afternoon. Am I being heard now?
Still your voice is very low.
Who is speaking?
Okay, John Otoide from
John,
Nigeria.
sorry, your sound is really, really low.
Okay, can you hear me now? John Otoide from Nigeria. Can you hear me?
No, we cannot hear you. You seem to be very far from your device.
I'm very close to it. I don't know, maybe it's network or something. Hello, can you hear me clearly now?
It's a bit better now.
All right. So, okay. I want to thank our presenter for her presentation. My journey has been sort of from undergraduate days. I knew that I would like to be in the academia. So I did my best to get close to lecturers I really admired, the way they did their jobs. On finishing, I went for my master's, and
Thank you, John. I couldn't hear you very clearly, but I think some people were able to hear you. I'm sorry. Apologies if I mispronounce your name, Dr. Okeme or Ocheme.
Yes, good evening. Okay. Can you hear me? Good afternoon, everyone.
Yes,
Good afternoon. Hear you.
Yeah. I'm Ocheme Okojoku from University of Jos, Nigeria. By my training, I'm a microbiologist, and during my undergraduate training, we were taught how to do presentations, even though we were up to 40 in the class. We were taught presentations. We had days that are specifically meant for presentations every week. And they are normally Fridays. And that tradition is maintained up to date. So it sort of grounded us in presentation. And then during the masters, of course, we had our presentations every week. And that really helped us. But one thing I noticed all through in the course of the training is the fact that each time we get feedback, particularly when it is criticism, it doesn't really feel good. One doesn't take it down well with us. So what we do, and particularly myself, what I do is that each time there's a criticism, which time I get a feedback, which I seem to take to be a negative feedback, what I do is to sit back, look beyond the way and manner in which the feedback is presented, and look at the substance. If the feedback is confrontational in nature, I look beyond the manner in which it is presented. I just said to myself, next time if I'm to give somebody feedback, I need not to do it in that manner. But then I look at the substance, the perspective the person is looking at the work. And that has really helped me and shaped me. And now that I'm in the position of giving feedback to others, both in assessing of essays, theses, and other write-ups like manuscripts, I mind my language. I'm very careful. I take their emotions into consideration, try to present my points and my views as well as observations in a manner that I think will be acceptable to whoever is on the other end, the recipient. I think exposing one to presentation and getting feedback is very good for us as academics. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there any other hand up? Okay, none is up. So thank you for those reflections. I think it's very important things that you have touched upon. One, you've reflected on your experiences in undergraduate, which exposed you, some were exposed to really speaking out, presenting your ideas, and this kind of began to shape your voice and your thoughts and ideas and how you also present them to people. And then there are those which the use of your voice through presentation was more during your master's. And I think for most of us, including I, it is at master's level when I began to have spaces where I could actually speak about things I care about and my ideas and my thoughts. And I also like the reflection on feedback, how sometimes feedback, how we interacted with feedback, the last presenter, and how sometimes it made us really very upset maybe, or sometimes it made us very anxious, and how in recognizing that, when we are now giving feedback to other people, we are very sensitive and very caring in terms of how we give that feedback, how we make it clear and actionable. So thank you so much for that reflection. I now invite you to to go to your chat, click on the link that is there. We are going to go on Jamboard, and we will now reflect on our own journeys. We will use Jamboard. If you've used Jamboard, you will just pick a sticky note from the Jamboard. You just click, the question will be there. And then you can, don't edit the question. I have seen someone is moving the question. Don't move the question. Then you can begin to respond to the questions using the sticky note. If you don't have access to that, you can just use chat, because Tabitha is going to share the screen. Look at the questions and now begin reflecting on your own journey. And we are going to start with voice. Are you all there? Let me see a thumbs up for yes. Are we on our Jamboard?
Yes.
Let's go on Jamboard. So the first question is, you can put on chat or on the Jamboard, what strategies or action are you undertaking to grow your voice in your scholarly journey? What are you doing? Looking at your master's journey, your PhD, your undergrad journey, even you as a lecturer or as an independent consultant, how are you nurturing your voice in this journey? What kind of things are you doing so that people know your ideas, so that you're also shaping your thoughts, your opinions? What have you been doing? Yes, I can see the answers are coming in. Keep that up. Tabitha, if possible, we can project. Keep writing. Please, you can put on chat. What are you doing? Because it's, yes, keep them coming. I can see very good responses coming in. What strategies are you undertaking to develop your voice? And this can be your voice in terms of how you speak when you're doing presentation, how you nurture that voice, and also how you write. Remember, when we are writing, we are also, that's where we are also expressing our voice, sharing how we think. So how are you developing that? Because I think for me, as a scholar, this is really, really important. Yes. So the answers I can see coming in, people are keeping their professors and teachers very close. Yes, because then and you can, after I read them through, one or two people can just reflect on that. So keeping your professor and your teachers very close to you. Remember, academia and scholarly work is a work of collaboration. We are always in collaboration. When we are writing, when we are speaking, we are always building up on what others have done. So keeping your professors close. There's one who says, I use every opportunity to present my work and teach others. Wow. One thing my mentor told me very early, if you want to be good at something, share it or teach it. Because when you teach something, you have to prepare more, so you will go a bit deeper. And then when you are sharing something, you're always in a position of getting feedback and shaping your voice. So presenting your work. And that's why I always tell young scholars, even I consider myself as an early career scholar, don't treat your research like the world's best kept secret. Keep talking about it. If it is your master's thesis, your PhD, talk about it. Tell as many people, because the more you speak about it, the more people give you feedback, the more your voice becomes sharper and stronger and your ideas begin to flow better. So speak about your work, share it as much as you can. Then getting feedback about my writing absolutely is the best way also to nurture your voice. Thank you. When you teach something, you learn it twice. Oh, I can see there's a quote there. You teach something, you learn it twice. You learn it for yourself, then you learn it to teach it. So that's amazing. I collaborate with my colleagues. Collaboration is also another way to know, to use your voice and to grow it, because you work with other voices and you can see how yours fits in there. So collaborating is a great way. I have been using debriefing sessions with my lecturers and professors. Debriefing is excellent for reflection and insights that come with that. Publishing is another way of growing your voice. Networking, asking a lot of questions. In fact, some people even say asking is even better than answering or finding solution. The more questions you ask, the sharper also I feel your voice becomes. Working more, I use every opportunity to present, collaborating with seniors, standing on the shoulders of giants. Who are these giants that you're standing on? In my own career, I've identified, I think, 4 or 3 giants that I have been working with. One of them is my own master supervisor, Professor Auma Okwani. She lent me her shoulders and I have been standing on those shoulders. I have also stood on the shoulders of Dr. Elizabeth Ngutoko. These are people who have really shaped my voice. And I urge you to pick giants in your own career, in your own writing, in your own scholarly journey, in your own discipline, giants whom you can help to nurture your own voice and also leverage your work on. I try to be subjective to get out of my emotions and avoid conflict of interest. I consult with supervisors, challenges used to taking myself out of the story when I receive a less than complimentary feedback. So how we also deal with feedback is very important in terms of growing our voice. So are there any challenges that we have found in developing and using our voice? Those are two kind of one of the same thing, but it's different. You might develop your voice, but can you use it? Are you in spaces where you find it difficult to use your voice, whether it is in writing, whether it is speaking, or is in how you influence others? Have you found, as an early career researcher, which most of us are, even as a senior researcher, have you found it difficult to use your voice, to develop that voice? Let's see the reflections on challenges. Yes, you can just put on top challenge, then we can differentiate it from the strategies. Any challenges you have found developing and using your voice? Remember, I told you first as a woman, I didn't feel a lot of bias in terms of how my voice was used, how my voice was heard as a woman. And I feel sometimes it's because I was also in the kind of what would be considered the feminine kind of course. I was doing development studies, majoring in social policy and specifically children and youth and sexual reproductive health. So in that space, I did not find a lot of challenges as a woman researcher. Perhaps those who are in other contexts might find challenges if you're mainly in very masculine, heavy types of sciences. It could be different, even within the social science. But for me, that was not an issue. I think the issue I have found and I keep struggling with is my voice as an African scholar and how I fit into that, how I push for African stories to be led by African researchers. That I have found more difficult. And as I sit at the table with other researchers, I have to keep remembering that we need to be heard more. We need to be at the table of setting the research agenda. So that is what I'm working on now. And I've been speaking to my giants, the one I'm standing on, and asking them, how can I, as a young African scholar, how can I use my voice really to bring out African stories that are led by us? So the answers are coming in. Challenges of using and developing our voice is opportunities and funding. So maybe opportunities to publish, opportunities to do research. Age is a challenge. Yeah. So your voice as a young researcher vis-a-vis that of the seniors can be a challenge. How do young researchers, how do older researchers hear your voice? Are you dismissed as the researcher, the young people of today who want things easy? They do not know the struggle. Do you feel like you're dismissed? Do you feel hard? So age is an important thing that we have to consider. How are you sitting in as a young lecturer, as a young scholar in that scholarly space you're in? Challenges of gender discrimination have opened my eyes to how I need to protect others while using my voice. I think this is very important. Gender has been a very critical issue in the education space, in the scholarly space, and how women and men are heard in that space it needs to be understood. How they benefit also, because being heard also goes with how resources are allocated to you or they are not allocated to you. So voice is very important, even in terms of influence. What things are you able to influence and those you cannot? And gender and age. And for me, being an African scholar are some of the ways that I'm still struggling to apply my voice. So thank you for sharing those challenges and for sharing. Keep the challenges coming, and then we'll go to the next question. So keep them coming. So the next part is feedback. Now we are in the realm of feedback. How has feedback about your scholarly work impacted your learning journey, whether positively or negatively? This is quite broad. How has feedback, whether it is written, whether it's feedback from your lecturer, from your seniors, even feedback about from a peer review, feedback about the funding proposal you wrote, how has that impacted your learning journey positively and negatively? So let's reflect on feedback. What has it done to us? I've seen people who are quite thrown back by feedback they receive. And this makes them not continue with their research, even for 1 year. Someone is sitting with the comments that they received 1 year ago, because that feedback, either they cannot action on it, they cannot move on with it, and it has paralyzed them. So how has feedback about your scholarly work impacted on you? Fortune, your hand is raised. Is it Fortune?
Yeah, sorry. I just gave a response now with a note card about feedbacks.
Yeah. Okay. Feedback and mentorship help me know the gaps in my skills. Yes. So it's of enhancing your self-awareness about your gaps. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ideas on what I should read more and work on myself. Good. Thank you for sharing that. Let's talk a bit about feedback, because I have seen a number of us early career researchers really paralyzed and even get into emotions of shame. Shame around feedback. You start feeling very shameful, very anxious, because it feels like a reflection on your own self. It's like a failing.
You eat this food. You eat that is food.
Yes?
One that you did not.
Okay, sorry.
So you are going.
Okay, someone is talking. So someone is saying that it was initially hard to take feedback on my first scholarly work. We all have that one paper where we received a lot of feedback and we froze. But my mentor helped me cushion the effect. And now I go seeking feedback and I'm more open to feedback. Thank you for sharing that. I think we can all relate to that when we have received comments and we could not move. Even right now, as a consultant, of course, you work with organizations, you have to receive comments about the report you write. And sometimes you may receive comments and you let that work sit for 2 days as you reflect on it, but it is still part of the journey. I'm also learning to embrace feedback positively, even as someone who works on both sides, either as a student or as a consultant. Any other reflection on feedback?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Sorry, I don't know if I should type or I can go ahead with the voice call.
Yeah. Yeah. What?
I am saying, do I have to type or I can go ahead with the voice call?
No, talk. You can talk.
Okay, thank you very much. So for the feedbacks, although I had some other things to share for other sections, but I was trying to type them. I didn't type everything. For feedbacks, I think I would start with the negative feedbacks. And I think many of us will share this when you're starting your research journey, that first paper that you write, how much you believed in that paper, how much you believed in the quality. And then you sent it to a superior, or maybe you submitted it to a journal only for them to indirectly tell you that what you're writing was absolutely rubbish or was not good enough. And then at that first time, I am sharing an experience. You would think that okay, maybe they are partial, or maybe they are not just understanding me. I think I should try another journal. So it happened to me in my first publication. It was only later that I realized that the tone of a scientific paper is different. And I learned from that rejection. I had a particular paper that was rejected severally. And to me, it was well written, and I spent so much time working on it. I was submitting it, hoping that definitely it will be published. I've almost counted as one of my publications. But then with the rejections and the feedback, although one problem that some journals do is that sometimes they don't directly tell you what is wrong with the paper. They'll be like, we had a lot of and all those kind of emails. But when I took the paper to a superior and I asked him what is wrong with this paper, he now told me, because the first paper I was working on was on physical distancing and face masks. So in the paper, I was kind of advocating for face masks, that it is more superior, is a more superior mitigation approach for COVID than physical distancing. And that was when the superior told me that in scientific paper, you don't make definite stands. You put it as suggestions. So we think that instead of physical distancing is the most, you put it something like physical distancing is likely to be, or we suggest all those kind of stances. So that was one of the things I learned, and that was how I started learning how to speak. By speaking, I'm talking about writing. That's how I started learning how to speak in a scientific writing. And then there was another rejection I got still in my early days. It was really painful because, yes, in those early days, you are so optimistic and enthusiastic, feeling that anything that you write should be published. I almost gave up on the paper. I almost pushed it aside, but I called myself together and I was like, let me look at this paper. What is wrong with this paper? I took it to a friend. I told him, why did this paper get rejected? And that was when we had a voice call, we discussed about it, and it made so much improvement in the paper. And that was actually my first publication. That's how I published. So this was how a negative feedback helped me, because I accepted the feedback and I decided to think critically and reevaluate and look at what I was doing. The negative feedback helped me positively. Then talking about the positive feedbacks, for me, the positive feedbacks are the things that keep me going, because I'm involved in a lot of mentorship, opportunity to mentor many Nigerian students, even other African students in research. So it's the positive feedbacks they give me that keep me going. If it's not in my YouTube videos, because I make YouTube videos for the students, if it's not in their papers that I review, one or two things, they're always giving positive feedback. And because research is like a community service for me, it is these feedbacks that keep me going, they keep encouraging me. I'm like, okay, I'm making impact. Okay, I am impacting positively in people. And there are people many students that have gotten their first publications courtesy of me. Many of them have gotten opportunities to travel outside the country and all those things just because of me and our initiative. Uh, so when these feedbacks come in, they encourage me. Even if I'm not paid for the work I do, the feedback the students are giving me keeps me going. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I think the message you invite us to all to always seek feedback, and to see feedback as a stepping stone in our learning journey. And I also found, as I've grown in my career, there's a relationship between feedback and my voice. So whenever I receive feedback now, I also use my voice. I ask more questions. What did you mean? Could you be a bit more clear? I also give my perspective. Yes, you have given me this feedback, but this is actually how I meant it. And this is how, so I'm just saying that for nowadays, I also don't take every feedback. I also use my voice to speak back and to also maybe make my idea more clear, and also share what perspective did I come at in a particular written work or in a particular conference I was presenting. I share my perspective. Where was I coming from? What was the context of what I was saying? And that's very important. As you receive feedback, also use your voice to clarify. So thank you very much. And I'd love to hear from you, ladies. How have you interacted with feedback? Now let's go to the last question of follow through. I have seen so many people seek mentorship opportunity, ask questions. When this is provided to them, you find some do not actually follow through with what they've planned to do as academics. Some say procrastination, some say we are very busy, but I want us to look at the pillar of follow through and how this affects our learning journey. So are there times you followed through or did not follow through what you had planned to do in your scholarly work? And how has this been affecting your learning? Just remember things that you've been planning to do, even working on your own paper, working on your presentation, there's a manuscript, there's a research collaboration you're doing, all those things that you've been working towards and planning to do in your scholarly journey. Are there times you find you're not able to follow through? And what could be the reason? Are there times you find that you plan and you actually execute? Because it is one thing to grow your voice, it is one thing to receive feedback, but it is also important to action on it. How are our actions? Because I find many people really struggle to keep up to what they have said, and sometimes it's just anxiety, no time, a lot of gender imbalanced gender roles. So how has your follow through been like? Difficult to manage work. So let's write a bit first. Then I can open the plenary. Yes, let's write a bit. And this also is about your values. Why are you doing the masters you're doing? Why are you doing that topic? Could it be that you chose a topic that anytime you think about it, you just get paralyzed, you cannot write. It also speaks to the choices we make around our scholarly journey. Why do we choose particular courses? Why are we doing a PhD? Is it because this is how we progress in career? But then we chosen a PhD journey is not easy. And this journey becomes very difficult and we are not able to follow through. So look at how you are implementing your scholarly activities. Are you feeling paralyzed? What could be the challenge? Is it about discipline? How we get to work through, how we plan, how we manage our time? Let's see. So one is saying difficulty in balancing. I know many of us are balancing a lot. That has been a great challenge. Most of you are lecturers, parents, teachers, church members, so many hats. What else is affecting our follow through, or what has helped us to plan better? Keep them coming. We said we are taking tea as we are reflecting on our journey and learning from each other. Let me see on chat. We have 5 minutes, so we are about to wind down. Feedback during my, follow through driven by passion. Yes, passion is very important. I have found in my journey. Whenever I chose research topics that were far removed from things I cared about, I really struggled to finish those papers or even join collaborations where I was feeling, well, this is important, but it's not really speaking to my heart. But whenever I entered into a space that spoke to my heart, I have found myself really give my all, my brain, my heart, and my energy. So yes. So think about, even if you're not writing now, think about the things that hinder your following through and how that is affecting you from learning and transforming in your journey. Okay. So we have, you can imagine 1 hour is over. So I just want to have some concluding thoughts. I will open the floor for a lady who wants to speak. Do we have any lady who would like to just reflect a little bit about their journey and the ideas of voice, feedback, and follow through? Okay. If we don't have, don't worry.
Yes, Aurelia.
Great. Please go ahead.
Yes. For me, what in my learning journey, one thing I would like to tell any early career researcher here is keep asking for help. I still tell myself, I wish I'd started asking for help much earlier in my career, because most researchers might not have the money to give you or might not give you money, but they give you what is worth a lot more than money: their time, the resources, mentorship, and so much more. So please keep asking. What will happen is that you're going to get a no, but the more no's you get, the closer you are to getting a yes. So please keep asking. It's so important. Most real giants are very willing to help. They might be busy people, but they will always make a way for you once they've said yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Zainab, for that. And procrastination, things that hinder procrastination and competing priorities. And maybe these are things we can unpack another time. How do we manage procrastination and all these competing priorities that come into our scholarly journey and make us to either pause or really struggle through in very difficult ways. So good people, 2 minutes, I just want to give it back to Tabitha, but I want to conclude by saying that please write your reflections on chat. Reflect on chat. What has this been for you? Our tea time topic was about learning journey and exploring it through the pillars of voice, how we are growing our voice, how we are interacting with feedback, and how we are following through. So I invite you to keep developing your voice, growing in the area of the things you value and sharing them with the world, writing about them. Keep receiving feedback, ask for as much feedback as you can, because that's how you sharpen your voice. And also look at the barriers that affect your follow through, and we can discuss them another time. So happy chai, and back to Tabitha. Let's keep reflecting on the chat, any insights that we have gotten from the session. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Aurelia, for this great session. I'm actually going to hand over to Asta as she wants to take a group photo before we close.
Yes, thank you so much, Tabitha, and thank you everyone for amazing discussion. It was really nice learning from everyone, and there are like list of things, the discussion that are going in the chat box is amazing. Thank you so much. And I'd like to take picture of everybody so that we can post it in our social media accounts. So if I can have your consent for that, please, let's take a picture. Please open your camera. Okay, we are waiting for everybody to open their cameras.
Usman is in space.
Okay, glad to see everybody. So I'll be taking the picture now. Smile, please. Okay, so since we have much by audience, so I have to take it once again for another set of people in next phase. So here we go, smile again. Okay, done. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Asta. Great to have everyone here. Thank you so much for joining. Feel free to keep the discussion going on the Google group, on Twitter, on Facebook, wherever you like to share. And please also note we have a webinar coming up. Maybe Asta can briefly share the link, the Eventbrite link in the chat. So you can sign up. It's happening on the 29th of September on research funding, and we have 2 great speakers lined up for that as well, if you'd like to join. Other than that, just keep your eyes peeled for the next TeaTime event, and we will be announcing it on social media and the Google group as always. Thank you so much. I will leave this call open for a second so Asta can share the link. There it is. Just click on that Eventbrite link and you can sign up for the webinar. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. See you at webinar.
Thank you.